The Supreme Court once again came down heavily on the Punjab government over stubble burning, which is one of the factors for air pollution in Delhi NCR. The apex court observed that farmers are being made a villain as they're not being heard in the court. A bench of justices, S.K. Kaul and S. Dhulia, ordered the Punjab and Delhi governments to take action against the burning of agricultural waste, which adds significantly to Delhi's AQI crisis. In this telecast, we discuss the Parali plan for 2024 and take a deep dive into what needs to be done and what needs to be avoided to curb the stubble burning and pollution issue. Let's in fact take a look at what the government should not do next year and the initiatives it should take up to find a long and sustainable resolution and future. We'll talk about this with some of the people who understand the space as well. Vinita Hariharan, BJP spokesperson, is joining us on the broadcast. Siddharth Sharma, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, is also here with us. Mr. Sanjay Nath Singh, Secretary General of the All India Farmers Association, joins us on the show as well. Last but not the least, Indrashekhar Singh, agricultural journalist, expert, also with us on the program. In fact, I'm going to go to the big screen and try to show you what were the key observations that were made in the Supreme Court and what not to do in 2024 when it comes to Parali burning. Don't pretend it's not Parali and create a smoke screen. It is Parali, and that's exactly what has been happening. The problem has been identified. Number two, don't punish middle class with odd and even. It may be a solution to some extent, but after a point in time, it does hurt people. Number three, if rain machines work, tell IIT Whizzes to end the droughts and prove it. There is technology available which can in fact come very handy and fruitful in this kind of a scenario. No more politics from the state or centre. The tug of war between the state and the centre has often resulted in a policy paralysis, and that's exactly where we are stuck at this point in time as well. What exactly should we do in 2024? Put cash value to Parali to incentivize farmers not to burn. Right now, that's the cheaper solution that they have, but it needs to change nevertheless. Get IIT engineers to design better Parali cutting machines is also a focus that needs to be addressed and is also a focus that needs sustainable approach. Get Parali machines and balers en masse and distribute them. Give it to the farmers, show them how to use it, and also tell them the benefits that can be derived out of it. Make Parali machines and balers easy to afford or easy to rent as well. Subsidize them. Create a plan which makes it easy for the farmer to own them. Set up interstate and center coordination plan now, and this is what is going to make this menace go away if the long-term benefits are to be taken from not burning Parali. Make 2023 the history peak baseline and improve from here. The values that we see, the nuisance that we see should not go beyond what we have seen in 2023 because that has been at its worst. Incentivize other cash crops with good MSPs as well. Well, this is exactly the plan that we feel is important at this point in time. Siddharth, I'm going to come to you. Well, once again, we're not going to be blaming this on one government. We're not going to be blaming this on the state or the centre. We need to, in fact, not focus on the blame now, Siddharth. We need to focus on how to resolve this. You know, there's been a tussle between the government, the centre and the state, and because of that too, there has been a lot of policy paralysis that has, made this problem bigger than it ought to be. First of all, do you concur with the kind of, inputs that NewsX has given? And secondly, do you think that the government of the day should embrace these inputs because that's exactly what will also, abstain the people from putting the blame on the government from time to time?
Yeah, Vineet, I think NewsX more or less has hit the bullseye regarding the Parali issue. More or less, we agree to it. And the proof here is that although Parali burning has happened this year, but data also shows that 30% Parali has been burnt less this year compared to last year. That means that the government of the day, the actions that they are taking, the policy changes that they are making is starting to take effect. We have to understand one or two things, which I think you hinted upon. I'll just explain it in a little bit of a detail. One is that Punjab, unlike other states, for example, Haryana or other states, go into basmati rice cultivation. Whereas Punjab, 31 lakh hectares of land, they cultivate rice quality called Pusa 44, which is the staple diet. So that makes Punjab the strategic food security input for India. What was happening till now is that the Punjab farmer was sowing a rice variety called Pusa 44. Its gestation period was long. Now, the problem with Punjab, as we all know in Parali, is that the farmer gets less time, maybe between 2 and 3 weeks, in which his paddy harvest is harvested, and the wheat seed has to be sown. Now, when the big harvesters run in the fields, unlike earlier when it was manual, the harvest used to happen with the root. The root used to come out, the paddy root. Now, because of harvesters, the harvesters get into the fields and start in a rotational way, mechanized cutting. When they cut, they leave a stubble of around 3 or 4 inches. Now, that 3 or 4 inches of stubble within the next 3 weeks do not decompose and become manure, and that's why the farmer of Punjab is forced into Parali burning. So, what Aam Aadmi Party's Bhagwant Mann government has taken an initiative this year is that it has banned the rice variety called Pusa 44, which was a long gestation crop. And one of the reasons for this 30% drop in Parali burning is that a lot of farmers accepted that and went for alternative seeds. One thing that happened. The second is that obviously those farmers who would not have gone into this alternative paddy in place of Pusa 44 were given biodecomposers. Biodecomposers also work. CRM machines, nearly 1.4 lakh CRM machines were working in Punjab. That also had its effect. Nearly 12,000 trained Kisan Mitras were sent out. They were trained by agricultural experts and sent out to villages to awaken people, to make them enlightened to not to go for Parali burning. But the most critical part, I think, where NewsX hit the bullseye is that we have to incentivize the farmer not to burn Parali. I think the Supreme Court also in its 7th November judgment said that 50% of the Parali incentive for a farmer it is better that 50% is given by Punjab and Delhi and 50% is given by the central government. I think by next year, all of us, including across the party lines, bipartisan, I'm speaking about bipartisan, people will understand bipartisanly, all the governments will understand that yes, Parali, because we have to balance between the food security of India and the air security of North India. So to ensure food security, we are putting air security at risk. So both can be achieved. A 30% drop has happened. It can fall even further. It can fall to 70%, we believe, if by next year I think both the governments, the Delhi, the Punjab, and the Union government will come to because the Supreme Court has also intervened here. Some Parali incentive has to be given to the farmer, and I think that is more or less in the pipeline. The policy is not yet in place, but I think more or less people would agree that Punjab farmer has to be given something in a return, because the Punjab farmer, although there are many calculations going around, but when you ask Punjab farmers that how much would he expect to not burn Parali, his estimation is around 2,500 rupees per acre. If he is given that kind of compensation, he can manage Parali without burning. So the 2,500 rupees per acre is not a big deal. Punjab and Delhi and the Union government, all the three put together, can invest that much. It has not happened till this year, but the Supreme Court has also said that the state governments have always been asking for that, and I think by next year we should be working out this thing, and more or less this should work out. I am optimistic that regarding the Parali thing, bipartisan, across party lines, cutting across party lines, everyone will work together, because there's absolutely no point, as NewsX, you very clearly said, there's absolutely no point in blaming each other. Even if tomorrow facts suggest if a fact suggests that it is because of the union government that the pollution is is increasing, or the fact suggests that it is because of the state government the pollution is increasing, both ways it is like asking a chicken how would you like to, do you like to get fried or do you like to get boiled? So it doesn't matter to the people. I think what people expect and what this nation expects is that we need to have a solution. And I think I'll end by the last thing. In November 2021 in Glasgow COP summit, the Honorable Prime Minister of India had unilaterally declared to the world that India will cut down emissions to the tune of 1 billion tons of carbon emission cut by year 2030. Now, if that cut has to happen, it will happen not through any unilateral, not just through unilateral declarations, but it will have to be worked out through state governments, because emission, as we know, even the Indian captain Rohit Sharma during the World Cup, he had also tweeted that for a few days the Mumbai AQI had also gone very bad. So it is not just
let me take a response from Vinita Hariyar on this as well. Vinita ji, Supreme Court obviously not happy with the state and the kind of work that has been put in. Do you think that political differences aside, the centre and the state of Delhi can work and eliminate this problem? And even for that matter, take the example of how Haryana and UP have been able to control it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, not to politicize the issue, but then, working on taking cognizance of where we went wrong and which are the states that are lagging in implementation of the central government programs. Because we've had a lot of programs being implemented, like the promotion of agriculture mechanization for in situ management of crop residue, the CRM program in these particular states of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and NCT of Delhi. So, where we have seen that almost more than 1,000 crores has been given to Punjab for giving away the CRM machines and to the farmer producer organizations, where more than 80% of the cost was subsidized by the central government to farmer producer organizations, and more than 39,000 customary centers have been established in these various states. So it's, the state government also has to be so much more proactive and efficient in order to capitalize on these programs that are given by the center. I'm not trying to give a narrative of center versus state, but the center is also doing its bit of, giving away these programs and giving away these subsidies, which the state government has to actually capitalize on it and make use of it, and effective utilization of these programs. And beyond this CRM and beyond the Parali burning, there is also this movement to move towards millets and move towards nutri-cereals beyond paddy, which is again a long-run sustainable measure, for which also the central government is doing a lot of work on promotion of millets and increasing the MSP for millets as well. So that is also being done, and the millet mission has been going strong in many states. But Punjab has not really taken that initiative to promote millets so much. So that's a long run measure, but at the same time, it's important to go towards that measure in order to fulfill the promises that we have made in COP. As Siddharth rightly said, it's up to the state governments also to proactively go hand in hand with the central government.
All right, there seems to be a problem with your network, ma'am. We'll come back to you momentarily. Mr. Sanjay Nath Singh, thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you so much.
What to do to avoid this menace, this gas chamber to come up again in 2024? Of course, the Supreme Court has made its observation, but all the hard work, the legwork has to be done by the centre and the state. And of course, the farmer cannot be, held upon as the villain in this entire saga. It seems that there is some vilification of the farmer here as well.
Good evening to you and good evening to all our viewers. Now, I just wanted to say a few things that the farmer should not be held as a villain, definitely. At the same time, I think we have gone through most of the possible solutions, plausible reasons as to why the Parali is causing pollution in Delhi NCR as well as entire northern India. Now, coming to various solutions, everything is fine. We have to look into the better machines, lighter machines, which can be tagged along by tractors which people own in Punjab. But normally they own 20 to 30 bhp tractors, whereas the present superseder requires at least a 50 bhp tractor to pull it. Now, these are some innovations which have to be made. But while this is very important, Parali should not be burnt. I agree. Parali should be used for mulching. I fully endorse that. I do not agree with Parali being burnt in any other form also. As to why should you burn Parali at all? So that is also another thing, because all said and done, burning is not the solution to the problems. It will add to some environmental disharmony or the other. What is required, which everybody is forgetting, is a very simple solution which the governments of the day, be the state or the central government, can do. That is, repeal the Punjab Preservation of Subsoil Water Act 2009. Now, this act ostensibly was brought in to conserve water during the periods when monsoons are not there. So, when the farmer used to sow paddy in the month of April, the harvesting used to take place sometime in September itself. And by October, it was all done. And climate inversion, climate was suitable for the smoke to dissipate in the atmosphere. Now, climate inversion takes place the moment this act has made it mandatory to sow paddy in Punjab only from mid-June onwards. So, with the 120 days gestation period, you can imagine what happens when the climate inversion has taken place, the cold air is down and the smoke cannot escape. And this causes a tremendous amount of pollution in especially in Delhi NCR and the rest of the northern India as well. Important thing to note out here, couple of things, is that who were behind this particular act being brought in. There is a sub-story to it, which of course I cannot discuss in detail out here, but there is definitely some agency which was not interested and another company which were interested in bringing in their crops. So this narrative is being built that stop agriculture of paddy in Punjab. We are we are sowing and we are cultivating some very nice rice over there, which is also exported. Right now, Punjab, Haryana, and parts of Western Uttar Pradesh have given us food security when we were from ship to mouth kind of a situation in 1965. Our food security has given us a lot of strength, both in terms of our security and other economic growth and everything. So, now this food security definitely hurts some people. That's what is my belief. And to mitigate this problem, we should think of going back to sowing of paddy in the month of April. Another thing about this Punjab Preservation of Subsoil Act was that it ostensibly said that we save a lot of water by shifting this sowing of paddy, as a lot of water is consumed in the cultivation of paddy. However, when the water in the fields actually, internationally it's been proven, actually recharges the groundwater level. It doesn't mean that everything gets evaporated. So there are many things to be looked into, and we have to look into the Food Security Act as food security of the country, ensure that we continue to be secure with our food grains and storages and our reserves. So we should not allow, and this narrative that we should ask Punjab not to sow paddy and grow maize over there or some other product, I think it's not a very great idea. I am not saying that go against millets and things like that, but definitely not maize, because that maize that we are talking about is going to be a GM crop by and large, and that crop is not fit for human consumption. It is meant for chicken feed. So let's not get into this kind of a trap. The simple solution is repeal that act of 2009. And give the farmer that freedom to start sowing it from the month of April, make necessary arrangements for it. All this issue of Parali burning and pollution, causing pollution, will get reduced. With the Parali burning, yes, of course, we have to take care of it, because earlier, if you recall, before 2009, Parali burning would create some kind of environmental hazard for the air quality for Punjab, for the state of Punjab. So there also, वहाँ पे कितने लोग रहते हैं, so they should not be harmed. So we must take care of ensure that the parali is well disposed of and used instead of being burnt. That's what I would like to say.
All right. Shekhar Singh, this is obviously a problem that needed attention a long time ago, but there are multiple parties who are suffering because of this, and more so the people who have nothing to do with this. How do you think this is likely to become a non-issue in the coming years, if you think it will?
First of all, thank you for having me on your show. As I've said repeatedly, once you have an MSP for Parali, this problem will be over in 3 years' time. If the AAP government, and I'm not pointing this to AAP or BJP or anybody, but if there is a governmental push for an MSP, the farmers will stop burning. Punjab will achieve 10% burning from the next year if the government offers 2,500 per acre. And I've been saying this figure for a really long time on NewsX. As soon as the 2,500 is announced, farmers will not burn it. This figure needs to be inflation adjusted for at least the next 5 years. Now, the other thing is the Supreme Court has also pointed to the same direction. When the Supreme Court says that you have to look at Haryana, what Haryana is doing. Well, Haryana is offering an MSP now. So why doesn't the Punjab government and the Delhi government and all governments involved offer that MSP for next year, announce it right now, so that our food security is not hampered and the farmers know that they can have the extra resources to cut out the parali. Now, moving from there, but the government will make a mistake if they only announce MSP in isolation. This needs to be paired up with another policy which invites industries in. So now when there is an MSP, I don't want the government to actually take the burden of buying all this and then thinking where to dispose it. So there needs to be a parallel market yards created. There needs to be a parallel allied industry that needs to be created so that the farmers eventually, they are supported for the first 5 years with MSP, but in the 5 years' time, an allied industry is developed, which is then buying the parali straight from the farmer. And the government's role is almost over. So that policy needs to be seeded in along with the MSP idea. If the MSP idea goes alone, it will fail. So it needs to go with the allied industry hand in hand. Now, moving further ahead, there's always this confusion that people don't know where the pollution is coming from. Some people think it's cars, some people think it's there. So why not the government also invest in micro air monitoring units within Punjab blocks, within Punjab villages, also in Delhi, all along this belt? This technology is very cheap now. Most of the hardware we have for air quality monitoring with a simple software upgrade can actually provide very fine data, very precise data on the sources of pollution, on the timing of pollution, and all these other things. There is technology available all over the world which does this. Why don't we get into the real-time monitoring of things? Why are we trying to hide the data from the public and also from the policymakers? So let's be very clear. Let's have a national panel with the figures on the internet all the time of which village, which is where, what are the pollution rates at any given point of time. So then there is no doubt that who's the victim, who's the villain. All those things will be over. So the government needs to monitor. First MSP along with the market yards and allied industry, then comes the monitoring. The government can immediately invest money in that. Now I would move further. I do agree with the co-panelist's point about food security. We cannot hamper our food security. But by converting ourselves into land races, we can definitely save the parali problem. We cannot go for other crops like corn because anyways, the international corn trade is completely messed up and completely corporatized, and India will be a loser if we choose corn for Punjab. I agree with the earlier panelist on this. But we have to move away from the industrial paddy varieties to native paddy varieties and research varieties where the straw is edible again and the straw has more economic value. I think if the PUSA institutes and the Indian agricultural systems get with it, even the private sector can be involved, new varieties can be developed over the next 2-3 years and also spread across Punjab and North India, which so that the food security is not hampered, our fodder increases, and along with that, the paddy problem, the Parali problem. Just one last point, because we talked also about water conservation. See, if you add 0.5% organic matter to 1 hectare, it increases the water holding capacity of that farm by about 60,000 liters. So if we have traditional water conservation methods, that even if we are using that excessive water in the dry months, we have ample water conservation in Punjab and North India, so that water can be recharged if we increase the organic matter in the soil through organic farming and other natural manure and carbon sequestration. And along with that, if we have the revival of ponds, the jalashas, and the local ways of conserving water. If there is a solid program for this, I think very soon the water problem and the food security can be both dealt, and also the Parali problem will finish.
All right. Well, we've run out of time. Appreciate everyone who joined us and spoke about this important issue.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.